because when you interact with investors, with portfolio companies, it's not just about having information, it's also about how you present it. So I mean, that was one thing which I really think that which helped me in IIM Bangalore. And secondly it was that you're always occupied with so many things in these schools, and how to let go of a few things, how to focus on the important things. I mean, yes, SRCC taught me prioritization, but the level of prioritization which you need in MBA is totally different. Staying up with your friends the whole night because you have a project deliverable the next morning.
क्या आप भी IIMs ABC में जाना चाहते हैं या फिर आप टॉप प्राइवेट इक्विटी फर्म्स में जॉब करना चाहते हैं? Stay tuned for today's session. Hello folks, welcome to the series named The Placement Guide, where we help students to know about different career opportunities. Today we have a very special guest amongst us whose name is Akshit Khanijo. Akshit is currently working as a private equity associate in Alta Capital and had earlier worked in Blackstone, JP Morgan, and DESO. He had studied from IIM Bangalore with 99.94 percentile in CAT 2017 and is also an SRCC alum. Thank you so much, Akshit, for accepting our invitation and coming up to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction.
Before we proceed, do like and share this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe the channel for more such videos. Let's deep dive into your journey, Akshit.
Sure.
So, as both of us are cricket lovers, who has been your favorite test cricketer?
Okay. I've had very contrasting favorite test cricketers. I mean, in my childhood, it used to be Virender Sehwag. Now it's Cheteshwar Pujara. So both very contrasting batsmen.
Yeah, both are really great players. Like I also like these players like Sehwag, Sachin, Dravid, Pujara. Like all of them had really played very well in the test cricket.
Yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, it was Sehwag because he was, very aggressive. And then as you grow old, you realize that test cricket requires a lot of grit also, and then appreciation for someone like a Pujara. So yeah, both aspects covered.
So what is your biggest learning from your experience at SRCC?
Okay. I mean, SRCC was like my BCom. I did my BCom from there. So it was the first time I moved out of protected environment of home and school to go to college. So in that sense, got to learn a lot about how life actually works. What are the different aspects? And I mean, more than the hardcore, finance or marketing skills, it was more to do with life skills and how to prioritize different things, how to, handle multiple things at the same time, multitasking, being a part of different societies, interacting with a lot of seniors, just to get some gyan from them on how to make a good career. So that way, it was a good experience, and a lot of life skills I learned over there.
Yeah, that's a very nice experience of realizing the importance of prioritization, managing different skills, and especially the softer part of aspects. So which skills were helpful to you in your role at DESO as an associate in financial research?
Absolutely. So in DESO, I mean, see, at the end of the day, in all these jobs, there's one component which involves, learning about systems and doing financial research. Those are all things which anyone can pick up over time. I mean, some people can pick it up in 1 month, some may take 6 months, but essentially every smart guy can pick it up. But in terms of how to prioritize things, especially in the shop, we used to have night shifts also sometimes. At that point of time, there used to be just one person from our team working. So at that point of time, handling all the processes, handling multiple things when something blows up in any process, because most of your other team members would be sleeping. You just can't call up your seniors and ask them small doubts. So that ways, I mean, it was helpful. But then again, the skills you learn in corporate are very different from what you learn in academia. And that ways, I would say DE shop was a very enriching experience, much more enriching than SRCC, because the skills you learn in corporate life stay with you forever, because you're always working somewhere or the other. Even if you're not doing a job, you're doing some startup of your own. These things are very important. Just how to be solution oriented and just get work done. That's very important.
That would have been really hectic for you, but a comprehensive learning experience.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't crazy. It was a little hectic, but it was a very fun experience. I still remember that time as the best fun year of my life, because I had a great manager, great team, made a lot of good friends in Asia. And that was the first time I was living away from home. So a lot of responsibilities and a lot of independence, financial independence for the first time, because you see salary hitting your account for the first time in your life. So it was a very good experience, something I really enjoy thinking about.
So as you got 99.94 percentile in CAT 2017, what is the most common mistake one should avoid while preparing for CAT exam as per your experience?
Okay. So, I mean, in CAT, I didn't take any formal coaching as such. I just took mocks from a couple of places. Honestly, I was not planning to, focus too much on CAT 2017, because it had just been a few months since I completed my graduation and joined the eShop. I just took mocks, and I mean, when I gave my first mock, I got rank 1 in Hyderabad city. So I just thought, okay, maybe let's just focus, and maybe this year itself I'll clear it. I may not need to study one whole year for it. So that's how I just thought that let's focus on this one. Luckily got a good score when I wrote CAT. And in terms of mistakes, I would say a lot of people don't take risks in CAT exam. They try to play it safe, but because of negative marking. But if you see, negative marking is, I think, minus 0.25, and positive mark is like +1. So I mean, even if out of 5 guesses you make one right, you're still not losing anything. So I mean, one mistake I feel people make is to be very conservative. They should be more aggressive, and if they have some hints of an answer, even if they're not, I wouldn't say 99% sure, but even if they're 50% sure of something, they should go for it, because out of 5 guesses, even if one gets correct, you're still not losing anything.
Yeah, I can also relate with this part. Like in our coaching days, we used to do this type of guessing where the marking was +4 -1. So we just guess many questions to get the help of this like skewed marking scheme of 75:25 percentage.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do.
So what was your biggest learning from your experience at IIM Bangalore?
Okay, so I mean, in MBA, a lot of focus goes on making good presentations in your projects, not just focusing on the content part, but also how you present it, how you format things. And those are the things which in my current job also I'm using a lot, because when you interact with investors, with portfolio companies, it's not just about having information, it's also about how you present it. So I mean, that was one thing which I really think that which helped me in IIM Bangalore. And secondly was that you're always occupied with so many things in these schools, and how to let go of a few things, how to focus on the important things. I mean, yes, SRCC taught me prioritization, but the level of prioritization which you need in MBA is totally different. Staying up with your friends the whole night because you have a project deliverable the next morning. That just gives you the confidence that okay, even if the time is short, I can make things work. I mean, the difference between an MBA course and something like MA or MSc is that you're very solution oriented in MBA. You may not know all nitty gritties about things, but you just are able to deliver a solution to whatever the problem is there. So just in terms of time management, how it's okay to not always know everything, but to know the important things which help you to get to the right answer. That's something which MBA really helped me to learn.
Yeah, I think that's why people say that probably the first year at MBA is one of the most hectic phase of their life.
Correct. It was.
So was having work experience before doing MBA helpful to you in your MBA journey?
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, one thing is that in terms of getting good shortlists, the prior experience obviously helps because I had a finance background and it helped me to get a lot of good finance shortlists. So that way it's helpful. And secondly, as you said, MBA is very hectic. There are lots of ups and downs in that journey, and I mean lots of downs also. So I mean, when you're down, you just fall back on your experience in corporate life, and you feel that okay, whatever is going on in MBA, it's okay if some things are going out of hand. But when it gets over, when I go back to corporate life, I have some past experience. I know how things work. I'll survive. I'll make something good about myself. So that's just the confidence that you get if you work before MBA, and it also helps you to focus on which sort of jobs you want to apply for. You're not just following the herd. You also have some experience of really how things in corporate life works, and that just helps you to make better decisions in terms of which job you should take up, what is more suited for you, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then accordingly what is more suited for
Yeah, that was an amazing experience.
you. Yeah.
So what was the interview shortlisting process conducted by Blackstone for their internship program?
Okay, so in those days, Blackstone would come out with its shortlist at the very last moment. So, I mean, their idea was that they wanted to see people raw rather than giving them a lot of time to prepare about Blackstone and their specific businesses. So in that sense, there wasn't really a lot of Blackstone specific preparation, which I did. But the interview process was more on the lines of basic accounting stuff, how something like how one component could affect different financial statements, what are the basics of taxation in India. So those were the sort of things which they focused on, basic finance concepts, accounting concepts.
So what was your biggest learning experience from your internship at Blackstone?
Okay. So in Blackstone, I mean, since it was a private equity role, basically investing in companies. And I mean, a lot of time we hear people say that investment is not just a science, it's an art also. And I mean, in private equity, you do realize that it's a mix of science and art because you don't always have all the information which you need. So that way, it's not an exact science. But then again, if all the information is out there, then anyone can trade it. How will you make money? So that way, there are always missing pieces, which where you have to, as an investor, take some call as to in terms of assumptions which you make for forecasting. So I mean, I was just an intern, so for me, it was a great learning experience working with people and seeing them how they make these judgmental calls to generate alpha in the market.
Yeah, that seems really an interesting experience.
Yeah.
So what was the shortlisting process conducted by JP Morgan?
In shortlisting, just took our resumes of the whole batch and then they shortlisted, I don't know, 30, 40 people maybe. But in terms of the process after that, I mean, it involved a lot of technical questions about finance, about how markets in general work. Because my role in JPM was on the market side, I was on the fixed income sales desk their India institutional desk. So a lot of things about how markets in general work, why equities at that point of time were doing well. Budget had just come out a few weeks before that, so a bit about it, how different asset classes are correlated, how bond prices move in relation to yields. Then some very technical questions also in the last round. So it was a very finance heavy process for JPM.
And how did you apply to Alta Capital?
So Alta Capital was founded by one of the ex-Blackstone MDs who I had interacted with a little while I was interning over there. So when he was starting out his fund of his own, he reached out to me, and then we had a chat. We had a few chats, and I liked the idea. He also liked me. So then I thought it's a great opportunity. Let's just join this space.
So in general, how one can prepare for any private equity interviews as per your experience?
So, I mean, in private equity, firstly, I mean, as an analyst, you've got to be very good with numbers. You've got to know basic accounting things, accounting concepts, and how, financial statements work, how one change in, let's say, how the change in depreciation would impact different financial statements. Similar questions to this one. And then, I mean, so my role at Alta Capital is actually a real estate focused PE firm. So we are covering mostly real estate sector only. So a bit about real estate, how it works, what are the different asset classes within real estate, how you generate returns from it, what are the major markets for real estate in India. And I mean, even if you're applying for a sector agnostic firm, then you just need to have some idea of how you would evaluate an opportunity from a macro perspective also, because like macro sector is very important because you can get very good company, but if micro factors are not supportive, you may not generate returns. So I mean, both macro analysis and analysis of that specific company are very important. So you've got to have idea of both those things.
How does a typical day look like at Alta Capital for you?
It varies a lot, yeah. But I mean, a lot of my work involves making financial models, then pitch decks for LPs, then interacting with the data providers, investment bankers for deals which we're evaluating. Since it's real estate, we also have to travel, visit different sites which we're evaluating, meet people from those companies which are selling. And then as you grow up, as you get more experience in this sector, you also get involved in how fund is to be structured, how the transactions are to be structured. In terms of taxation, what are the best ways to minimize your tax implications? All those things become a part of your role, and you've got to coordinate a lot of consultants for due diligence process, legal consultants, tax structuring advisors, then technical consultants. So all those things come into the play, and you've got to coordinate how all those things are going on.
Yeah, that's really great experience.
Yeah. It gives a very holistic view of the business.
So can you tell the name of some resources that were helpful to you to develop your both consulting and finance skills?
Okay. I mean, I've never prepared for consulting with 100% effort, but one book I read was Case Interview Scrap, which helped me a lot in structuring how to think about these guesstimates and how to evaluate things from a macro perspective. Take that top-down approach to evaluating things. And in terms of finance, I mean, just keep abreast of whatever major things are happening in finance. Just keep reading newspaper. I like to listen to a podcast called Macro Voices, which my manager in JP Morgan recommended, which just gives a macro based overview of what all is happening in financial economy across the world. Even though in my current job it doesn't really require me to focus too much on macro stuff, but still out of my interest, I still uh, listen to it every week. And then again, I mean, you've got to know how valuation basically works. What are the different multiples? Which multiple is suited for which different sort of industry? How is an EV EBITDA multiple different from a PE multiple? In which case should you use which of them? These days, startups are getting valued on price by sales or any industry specific multiple. So just have a good idea of how valuation works and what are the major multiples to use in different industries.
Yeah, that was really helpful. Any last message that you would like to give to all our viewers who wanted to make their own careers into finance space?
I mean, see, don't come to finance because it's glorified. And same for consulting. I mean, finance and consulting are the two fields which, at least in these schools, are very glorified. In IITs, it might be tech also. But I mean, don't choose a job just because it's glorified or a lot of people want it. Just choose what interests you. I was honestly interested in finance right from I would say 11th standard when I took commerce. Initially, I thought I'll do CA, but then SRCC happened, and then I got a good job, so never really completed my CA. But I mean, just choose something which you really want to do, and secondly, in finance, I mean, you can't just be a hard worker and you can't just be a smart worker. You've got to be both. So that ways, just be ready to put in the grind in the initial years. I don't mean that you should work for 15, 16 hours a day or not have a life out of work. That's not what I mean at all. But just work diligently. But at the same time, work smartly, because there are so many things going on in all these PE, IB sort of roles, markets roles also, that I mean, if you get into nitty-gritties of everything, you'll spend 20 hours a day and still end up with not performing well. So just be smart and at the same time work hard. Both those things are important for finance.
Yeah, that's a really helpful advice that you shared. Avoiding FOMO is very important, and keep continuing on the part in which you truly have a passion.
Yeah, correct. I mean, eventually money will chase you. Don't chase money. Chase what you want to do. Eventually money will chase you.
Thank you so much, Akshit, for taking out your time to share your learnings and experiences. It would be really helpful to a lot of these students. Thank you.
I hope it's really helpful, and thanks a lot for having me.